Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to this next lecture related to AC and DC bridges. In last lecture we have started this unit and we have seen what is the difference between AC bridge and DC bridge. So generally if you see DC bridge, it can be used to measure the resistance, and if you see AC bridge, it can be used to measure the impedance. Okay, so we have covered two types of DC bridge circuits, that is Wheatstone's bridge and the second one that we have seen, that is Kelvin's bridge. Okay, that is Kelvin double bridge. Now let's start with next type of bridges, that is AC bridges. Okay, again I am repeating, AC bridges are related to measurement of impedance. Okay, now let's start with Hayes bridge. Okay, so if you see this circuit, this is a Hayes bridge. Okay, so what is the, we can say, importance of this bridge? If you see this Hayes bridge, it is modification of Maxwell's bridge. We have not covered yet Maxwell's bridge, but we will see after this. So it is just modification of Maxwell's bridge. Okay, so this is the schematic of that, and it uses a resistance in series with a capacitor. So if you see here, this capacitor is used in series with this resistance, and for large phase angles, R1 should have a very low value. If there is a large phase angle, then R1 should be having a very low value. Okay, so if you see this circuit, it is used for measuring of a high quality factor, that is a Q factor. Okay, so I think you may have studied this Q factor and different types of phase terminology, phase difference in networks analysis. Okay, so here again most important thing is that as this is AC bridge, it is powered by AC signal, or power is AC. Okay, and the right circuit that you are getting, that is phasor diagram. I think you are aware about this, you have studied in network analysis. After completion of this, we will take a look on this. Okay, now let us start with this. See this circuit carefully. Here again detector is used, which can be called as null detector. Okay, so this is R2, as discussed earlier. This R1 and C1 are there. R1 is variable, R3 is variable also. The current flowing through these resistance are equal to the current flowing through this R3, because it is considered as this bridge is balanced. And here Rx and Lx is given. Okay, now one important thing that you have to keep with related to this AC bridge is that for balance condition we have to talk about the impedance, not a resistance. Okay, because in this AC circuits there may be capacitance, inductance like this. Okay, so that's why we will not talk about resistance, rather than we will take new terminology, that is impedance. So for all bridges you have to keep this equation in your mind, that is Z1 into Zx. Okay, so impedance of this into impedance of this is equal to Z2 into Z3. Okay, now you know the basics, I think. So that's why if you calculate this Z1, means this one, here resistance will be there, no doubt, because this is pure resistor, and impedance of capacitor will be there. So it will be minus J divided by omega C1. Okay, so this is standard formula, you know, I think you know about this. Similarly, if you calculate Z2, Z2 is nothing but only resistance is there is no any inductive or capacitive or impedance type part over here. So that's why Z2 is equal to R2. Similarly, if you see Z3, this is nothing but one resistor, that is R3, and if you see the Zx, means what, impedance of this branch, that will be what, resistive part plus impedance part, that is related to inductance. So that's why it will be Rx plus J omega Lx. Okay, now just substitute the values that we have taken over here in this equation. So we will get value of Z1 as like this, Zx as like this, Z2 Z3 will be like this. Okay, now if you do again mathematics over here, you will get the equation like this, that is R1 Rx minus J Rx divided by omega C1, then plus we can say J omega Lx R1, okay, plus Lx divided by C1. Okay, so is equal to R2 into R3. Okay, so I think you are aware about this mathematics using J or complex part. So this is very simple, just see carefully how it is solved. Now here to get a solution, we have to separate real and imaginary terms from this. So from this equation we have to separate real and imaginary terms. So if you talk about the real terms, these are the real terms. So you will get equation like this for real. It is R1 into Rx plus Lx divided by C1 is equal to R2 into R3. And if you talk about the imaginary part, so the part related to J, that is the imaginary part. So it will be like this, minus J Rx divided by omega C1 plus J omega Lx R1 is equal to 0. So again, if you equate this, you will get equation like this. So J gets cancelled over here, Rx divided by omega C1 is equal to omega Lx R1. Okay, so here you are getting Rx is equal to omega square Lx R1 C1. Okay, again if you substitute this in above equation, the value of Rx in this equation, you will get the equation like this, that is R1 omega square into Lx R1 C1 plus Lx divided by C1 is equal to R2 into C3. Okay, so you are having this lecture with you now, and you can stop this video and you can try by your own after completion of this any bridge circuitry. So it is all about the equation writing and solution. If you see this unit, it is all about the writing drawing diagram, then writing equation and solution. Okay, and the solution is very simple, I think. Okay, so finally you will get the equation like this. Here omega square Lx R1 square C1 square plus Lx divided by C1 is equal to R2 C through R2 R3. And again, if you solve this, okay, here again if you solve this, you will get the equation like this, Lx in bracket 1 plus omega square R square C1 square is equal to R2 C3 C1. See carefully how it is solved. It is solved for Lx. So if you get calculate this Lx again, Lx will be equal to R2 into R3 into C1 divided by 1 plus omega square R1 square C1 square. Okay, again if you substitute this in equation, previous equation, means this equation, that's Rx equation, then if you put the value of Lx in this Rx equation, you will get the equation like this, that is Rx is equal to omega square into R2 C3 C1 divided by 1 plus omega square R1 square C1 square into R1 C1, and finally you will get the equation like this. Okay, so if you multiply this inside, then you will get the equation like this. Okay, so I think you got this, and this is very simple. Now using above equation, unknown resistance and inductance can be calculated. Okay, so here the Q factor or Q value is given by 1 upon omega R1 C1, which is equal to omega Lx divided by Rx. So here if you represent your Lx in terms of Q, that is Lx is equal to R2 R3 into C1 divided by 1 plus 1 upon Q bracket square. Okay, so here the value of a Q or formula of Q is given, and based upon that with respect to Q, Lx is calculated. Okay, so generally if you see by this equation, we can conclude that this is used for measurement of high Qs. Okay, so it is written over here, it is used for the measurement of high Q inductors, especially those having a Q greater than 10. Okay, so this thing you have to keep in mind, that is Hayes bridge is used for measurement of a Q factor more than 1. Okay, so why it is not used for the value of a Q less than less than 10? So for inductance having Q less than 10, this formula or this equation, we can say 1 upon q square becomes important. So here if the q is less than 10, then this becomes very critical for us for calculations, and it cannot be neglected now. So hence Hayes bridge is not suitable for measurement of coils having a q less than 10, and for those application Maxwell's bridge is more suited. Okay, so this is basic difference in between Hayes bridge and Maxwell's bridge. Okay, so now we have to discuss the Maxwell's bridge. Okay, just to see one thing keep in your mind is that Hayes bridge is used for measurement of q factor more than 10. Okay, and for less than 10 q factor we have to move towards the Maxwell's bridge, which is pretty similar to this Hayes bridge. Okay, so let us start with that Maxwell inductance bridge. Okay, now if you see this Maxwell's bridge, this is the circuit diagram for that. See carefully how the values are adjusted over here. See the difference in between that Maxwell's and Hayes bridge. Here R1 is there, R2 is there, then R3 is there. Here inductance is added L3, and this is Rx, Lx. Okay, this is I1, I3, I2, and this is I4. Okay, and the voltage measured over here, this is V2 and this is the V4. So now if you see Maxwell's bridge, it is used to measure the inductance. That is very important. Okay, so it is used it uses two methods to measure inductance, that is comparison with a standard variable capacitance or a variable standard self inductance. Okay, so it is limited to low q values in between 1 to 10, that you have to keep in mind. Okay, now let us start some mathematics over here. Okay, so if you see this Maxwell's inductance bridge that is shown over here. Okay, so just let me complete one another thing that we missed during study of this Hayes bridge, that is phasor diagram. Okay, so let's talk about this Hayes bridge phasor diagram, then we will move towards Maxwell's bridge. So if you see here, this is the phasor diagram, so which shows some phase difference in between voltages, currents. Okay, so here if you see, this is your I2 R2. Okay, this is your I2 R2, this is your E. Okay, this is your I1. Okay, this is your I1, and see the phase difference that we are getting over here in between this, in between this, and if you see here, that is one I1 divided by omega C1. So in between this you will clearly get how the phase difference is there. Okay, so although it is not shown we can say exactly what is the phase difference, but you can see here we are getting E, here we are getting I1. So you know that whenever we add the capacitance, how current will get means how current is gaining some lead, phase lead we can say, and when you add inductor, then current will get phase lag. Okay, so the same terminology is used over here. So capacitance is dominating here, so that's why I1 is getting some extra phase lead we can say with respect to this E. Okay, so if you use this basic concepts in upcoming diagrams, then you will understand how the phase difference is there in between voltage and current. Okay, so due to this, see, this effect is there. Okay, now let us continue with this Maxwell's bridge equation. Again, if you see here over here, Z1 into Z4 is equal to Z2 into Z3. So like this, Z1 into Z4 is equal to Z2 into Z3. Now see here, what is the Z1? Z1 is R1. So this is very simple, Z1 is R1. What is Z2? Z2 is again R2, no impedance part, so Z2 is equal to R2. Means impedance means no capacitive inductive impedance part, because no any component is there in that branch. Okay, so here if you see Z3 over here, this R3, see here, this R3 plus R, so one resistance is considered here. Okay, and R3 plus R plus j omega L3. Okay, similarly Z4 is equal to Rx plus j omega Lx. Okay, now again the procedure is same, pretty similar, and will be similar for all other branches. and the bridges that we have to study. Okay, so here if you put all these values in this equation, that is z1 z4 is equal to z2 z3, or if you put all these values, you will get equation something like this, that is r1 in bracket rx plus j omega lx bracket complete is equal to r2 into bracket into first bracket r3 plus r plus j omega L3 bracket complete. Okay, now here if you multiply this inside, you will get r1 rx plus j omega lx r1 is equal to r2 into r3 plus r plus j omega L3 r2. Okay, so again the same procedure we have to apply, that is please see carefully how it is solved. We have to separate real and imaginary terms from this equation that we have got with the help of this standard equation z1 z4 is equal to z2 z3. Okay, now if you concentrate on real parts, you will get the equation like this: r1 rx is equal to r2 in bracket r3 plus r, and rx will be like this, r2 divided by r1 into bracket r3 plus r. Okay, so here if you see j omega lx r1 is equal to j omega L3 r2 if you concentrate on imaginary parts, and from that if you want to calculate the lx, this j omega gets cancelled, and you are getting here r2 into L3 divided by r1. Okay, so here in this way the value of lx is calculated based upon this r2 into L3 divided by r1. Okay, so this L3 is known value or standard value we can say, because already we have talked about this. It uses two methods to measure inductance, that is comparison with either a standard variable capacitance or variable standard self inductance. So here this is unknown one and this is known one, and from this unknown Lx is calculated, and here if you see this V3 is now dominating over here due to the addition of inductance in this. So this is your V, or we can say this is your E. Okay, in some books it is V E, but it is written over here. Okay, so see here V1 is equal to V2, which is written over here, because if you see there will not be any shift in this. Okay, and here you are getting the phasor diagram like this. Okay, so see which part is leading and which part is lagging. Okay, so this is all about the Maxwell's inductance bridge that we have studied. Okay, so I think you got the idea about this now, because the procedure is same. This is very simple to solve. So again I am repeating, just take a pen and paper. After completion of each and every point, you can write down your own notes, try to solve by your own. This unit contains only bridge and its equations, nothing more than that or nothing different than that. Okay, so just see how it is solved and all other things are covered. Okay, so this Hayes bridge we have calculated now. Okay, so Maxwell bridge also calculated. Now we have to calculate the equation for Maxwell's LC bridge. Okay, so this is also called as Maxwell's Wien bridge. Okay, so Wien bridge we have not yet seen, we will see afterwards, maybe in next lecture. Okay, or if it is possible we will cover that in this lecture as well, no problem. Okay, so let us see Maxwell's LC bridge over here. So it is, again I am repeating, it is also called as Maxwell's Wien bridge. Okay, so if it in exam it is asked that Maxwell's LC bridge or Maxwell's Wien bridge, then you have to explain the same diagram, and if they ask only Maxwell bridge, you have to concentrate on this Maxwell's inductance bridge. Okay, now some modification is done. See carefully, if you see this Maxwell's bridge, it will look like this, something like this, and if you see Maxwell's LC bridge or Maxwell's Wien bridge, you will get a diagram like this. Okay, now here if you see the AC voltage is applied to this bridge. Now this is your R1, this is your R2, this is your R3, and this is your R4. Okay, or Rx or ZX we can say, because they are having some impedance part. Okay, So look carefully, the capacitance is connected in parallel with this R1, then this is single R2, this is single R3, and here inductance is there. Okay, now the Maxwell's inductance capacitance bridge, this is also called as inductance capacitance bridge, measures an unknown inductance in terms of a known capacitance. Okay, so previously we have seen that this Maxwell's bridge measures the unknown inductance with the help of some known inductance. But if you see here, although it is measuring unknown inductance, but it is measuring this unknown inductance in terms of known capacitance over here. Okay, so that you have to keep in mind. And here phasor diagram is shown. Okay, so due to the addition of this capacitors and inductance, and based upon its value, you will get something like this phasor diagram. If you consider this as a baseline, then this will be E, and this will be your I2, and this will be your IC. Okay, so due to this dominance of capacitance over here, this IC is leading by 90 degree to this baseline. Okay, now let us see how the calculation is done. Okay, now here you will see one important term, that is admittance. Okay, so don't worry, admittance is just opposite to the impedance. Okay, so we will see that. Okay, so one of the ratio arm has a resistance and capacitance in parallel. So here it is having resistance and capacitance in parallel, and we know that the general equation of a bridge balance is Z1 into Zx is equal to Z2 into Z3. So Z1 into Zx is equal to Z2 into Z3. That is a balance equation. Okay, this same formula is used for every bridge circuit for calculating the final value. Okay, now let us see Zx. So Zx is equal to Z2 into Z3 into 1 upon Z1, because if you see this Z1, it will go to the denominator. Okay, so here what we have to do is that we have to replace this 1 upon Z1 with Y1, because 1 upon Z is equal to Y, 1 upon impedance is equal to admittance, because impedance and admittance are exactly opposite terms. So that's why we have replaced this 1 upon Z1 with Y1. So that's why we have to calculate Y1, and we have to put this in equation. So Y1 is nothing but admittance of the arm, first arm we can say. This first term's admittance we have to calculate. Okay, so Z2 is equal to R2, and Z3 is equal to R3. Okay, Z2 is equal to R2, Z3 is equal to R3. Okay, and Y1 is equal to 1 upon R1 plus J omega C1. So see carefully, it is not Z1, it is Y1. So that's why we are getting some inverted term like this, 1 upon R1 plus J omega C1. Okay, now let's substitute all this value in this equation. So here if you put the value of this Z2, that is R2, R3, and now let us see Zx as well, because directly it is solved over here. So Zx is equal to Rx plus J omega Lx. Okay, so if you see this Zx is Rx plus J omega Lx, and the value of this Z2 is put over here. Z2, Z3 is R2, R3, and Y1, that is 1 upon Z is equal to 1 upon R1 plus J omega C1. Okay, so finally after inside multiplication we will get equation like this: R2, R3 divided by R1 plus J omega C1 R2 into R3. Okay, so here again separate the real and imaginary parts. If you separate real parts, then you will get Rx is equal to R2 into R3 divided by R1. Okay, so from this equation, so from I am talking about this side, this and this one. If you separate the real parts, this is real part and this is real part. So Rx is equal to R2 R3 divided by R1, and Lx is equal to if you remove this J omega and J omega, and if you equate this Lx to this one, you will get Lx is equal to R2 into R3 into C1. Okay, now here one important thing that you have to keep in mind is that to obtain the bridge balance, first R3 is adjusted for inductive balance. Okay, so this R3 is adjusted for inductive balance for this one, and R1 is adjusted for resistive balance. So this R1 is adjusted for resistive balance. So some adjustment is done over here, so that's why these values are variables, R1 and R3. Okay, now the quality factor, you know that quality factor of the coil is given by Q is equal to omega Lx divided by Rx. So if you put the value of Lx and Rx over here, and if you do the multiplication and we can say reduction of some terms, you will get Q is equal to omega R1 into C1. Okay, so Q is equal to omega R1 into C1. So this is the final equation that we have got here. Now this bridge is also called as Maxwell's Wien bridge that we have discussed earlier. Now what is the advantage of using standard capacitor, known capacitor here, that you have to see, because the known capacitance is used to calculate unknown inductance. So what is the use of the standard, we can say standard capacitor. Okay, now if you see, the standard capacitor are lossless, that is the first advantage. The second is its size is small and they are economical and stable than inductors, and external fields have less effects on capacitor. So these are the advantages of that using standard capacitor. So what is the advantage of that, we can say Maxwell's LC bridge? So the balance equation is independent of frequency, that we have seen. Two balance equations are independent, that we have seen. Two balance equations, they are independent. Okay, and another important thing is that the scale of the resistance can be calibrated to read the inductance and Q value, so we can do the calibration, and it is useful for measurement of a wide range of inductance at a power and audio frequencies. Okay, so if you see commercial Maxwell's bridge, this measures the inductance from 1 to 1000 Henry. The inductance is measured in Henry, you know. So 1 to 1000 Henry with plus minus 2% error it can be used. Okay, so this is the some advantage, but there are again disadvantages of this Maxwell's LC bridge. That is, it cannot be measured used for measurement of high Q values. Okay, it is limited to low Q values, so typically in the range from 1 to 10. Okay, so this is the disadvantage. And another is the bridge equations are independent of frequency, but practically the properties of coil under test vary with frequency. Okay, so they may cause some error. Okay, practically we can say the properties of coil under test vary with the frequency, so that is another important thing. Okay, so this is all about the Maxwell's LC bridge or Maxwell's Wien bridge. Okay, so in next lecture we will start with Wien bridge. Okay, so which can be used for frequency measurement, so that we will see in next lecture. For today's lecture, or for this lecture, this much is sufficient, and that we have seen Hayes bridge, then we have seen Maxwell's bridge, we have seen difference in between this Hayes bridge and Maxwell's bridge. That is, Hayes bridge can be used for calculating upper Q factor greater than 10, and if it is in between 1 to 10, then Maxwell's bridge is preferred. And Maxwell's bridge, in this Maxwell's bridge, if you do some modification, then you will get Maxwell's LC bridge, which is called as Maxwell's Wien bridge. Okay, now again Wien bridge is similar to this we can say Maxwell's Wien bridge, because some part of Wien bridge is added over here, that we will see in next lecture. Okay, so for this lecture this is sufficient. Just go through each and every equation, try to solve this equation by your own, and if you are facing any problem, then you can refer my video. Okay, so let's stop here. Okay, so till now we have completed 2 DC bridges and 3 AC bridges, and remaining AC bridges that we have to complete in next lecture. Okay, so that is Wien bridge, D Sauty's bridge, that we have to complete in next lecture. Okay, and another is one bridge is there, that also we will complete. And again, if you see the phasor diagram of this Maxwell's, it is given over here. I think if you are clear with how the phase shift is varied with respect to inductive and capacitive component of the circuit, then you will understand this phasor diagram very easily. Just see which thing is leading and which thing is lagging. Okay, if capacitance is there, current may be leading, and if inductance is there, then voltage may be leading. Okay, so just compare all other phasor diagrams, write on a paper, and you can get the idea about this. Okay, so thank you very much. We will stop here. We'll meet in next lecture. Thank you.